Them or your 2021 LSU team, man?
My LSU team. Them boys not rocking with us. But at my 5 spot, I took Texas Tech. Hey, is Aaron Brown the #1 supporter of Track World News?
Aaron Brown is definitely one of the #1 watchers, and I would definitely call supporters. He beat Noah in the 100, and everyone thought, oh, like, you know, super, like, how are you going to lose to a high schooler? Welcome back to another episode of Track World News Podcast. Your host, Colin Waitsman, here with our esteemed and distinguished co-host, Mr. Noah Williams. Noah, how you doing today, brother?
Feeling blessed and highly favored, brother. I can't complain, man. Ready to talk some track. How you doing, my boy?
I'm good. It's been a busy weekend for me. Just a lot of stuff going on. A couple birthdays and celebrations and whole bunch of things that we're going to, and then I'm busy every weekend for like the next 3 or 4 weeks with track stuff, including I got some stuff that's going to drop that we recording this week that should be pretty refreshing. So can't be speaking too much on the show, but it's some new content that we've never done before. It'll be the first time I've ever done it. So y'all stay tuned in for probably next week. It should be a good one.
Stay tuned in, stay locked in, y'all. Y'all heard that. Y'all hear it.
There you go. How things going for you though, bro? I know you're saying you got some doors coming in. You doing some remodeling, some reshuffling?
Yeah, bro. I'm doing some things in the house right now. Trying to take care of my house the best I can, keep it clean, keep it nice, and like I said, the small details, man. So I got to put these door handles in. Bunch of my doors, man, they just out there with it's a door with no handle in it right now. So I got to take care of that today, and keep working on my house, make it the vibe that I need it to be.
Here you go. Get some nice plant. Do you gonna get some plants in there? Some
Oh man, yeah, I got plants. I got about probably like 8 plants, about 8 to 10 plants.
Okay. They die on you, or you keep them? You make sure to water them.
I've killed a couple plants. I'm not gonna lie, but right now, mostly everything that I have is doing pretty well. So I'm pretty proud of that.
All right, there you go. Yeah, I got them two. What I guess they're just like the thin green ones that like you can't really that are just tall.
Yeah, snake plant. Yeah.
They just like can't die. Like you won't like I'll like water it like once a month. Like if I forget, and it's still like yeah no I'm all right. It's fine. So it's my type of
Yeah,
plant. Yeah.
that's top tier plant, bro. I got a snake plant as well in my
Yeah.
bedroom. Yeah.
You gotta if there's anyone that's looking for plants to have and you're like, man, I'm afraid I'm gonna kill something. I don't want to, get a snake plant. You're gonna be fine. It's like impossible to kill those unless you don't water it for like 3 months. So you should be good. But awesome. Good stuff, man. A lot of a big weekend for track and field. It stunk because there was a few schools that weren't able to, I don't think weren't able to compete because of the snow. I think LSU had to call off their meet, unfortunately, because of all the snow that was going down. First, did you get y'all get much snow down there in Florida? What it looked like for you guys over the last few days?
Where I'm at, bro, I had no snow. It was cold. It was definitely cold and rainy this past weekend, but no snow for us. I know. I mean, it pretty hit you guys pretty hard.
Yeah, we got some good, a decent amount. I saw some other, I guess, northern Florida got a little bit of snow, so I guess maybe a little bit higher up. And there's Atlanta. I saw those videos. People just acting, acting like black people had never seen snow before, just going crazy. So
Yeah, for real.
it was cool. So a lot of stuff with the track world. I guess let's start with our first edition of our rankings that we'll be doing for college track and field. So we'll adjust these periodically throughout the season of what are the top teams each week, or maybe it's every other week, whatever it may be, for college track and field. And so I got my top 5. Noah's got his top 5. Let's start with the men's side. So we want to just go 1 and 1. So like, hey, I'll do one, then you do one, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's cool. That works. Let's do it.
Cool. I'll start at my 5. We'll go from 5 to 1. See if we're even there. So number 5 for me, I've got Washington. I think that there's always a few of these distance teams that just completely dominate. Now, usually like indoors is a sprinting sprinting championship from like what I've gathered over the years. But there's always one that like they just go and dominate in that distance field. And they've got a guy in third and fifth in the 800. They're 1-2 in the mile, and then they're 5 in the 3K. Like they've got the talent in the distance events to go through and put up some numbers. I know they've been up there before with in a couple championships in the past. So I got Washington for me at my 5.
Yeah, I like that, bro. I have Washington on my list, so not at the 5 spot, but I do have them on my list. I see it is hard to win an indoor title with just a distance team. I think the last time we saw a predominantly distance team win an indoor title was Oregon, probably back in 2021, their men's team, but they still have Makai Williams in the 60. So, you probably are going to need some scoring elsewhere. But at my 5 spot, I took Texas Tech. Texas Tech's been a good program for the last few years on the men's side, especially with the sprints. Sean Brown, 60-meter, Malachi Snow, 60-meter, Antoine Andrews, 60 hurdles. They had a 400-meter guy too. So if you got that many qualifiers at the indoor meet, like that's kind of half the battle. So I kind of formulated my list based on who are the teams that really have a lot of NCAA qualifiers right now at this point in the season.
Because it's only top 16 for indoors, or is it
See, when I
top?
was making the list, I couldn't remember if it was top 16 or top 12 because I think it's
Yeah.
one or the other, but it might be top 16, but it might be top 12 as well.
That's like such an elite group of like what you got to be in, because like to make it to NCAAs, I mean for regionals, what was it? It's like top 48 in your
Yeah,
region,
yeah,
and
48.
then yeah, so it's like it's like top, what would that be, like almost top 100, top 96 in the
Yeah,
country essentially, and then but to go down to indoors, it's like nah, you have to be literally like top 60. That's fast. You got
yeah.
to be a dog to make it to ends. So you say indoor NCAAs are obviously much more difficult to make it to than outdoor NCAAs.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it is way harder to make it to an NCAA indoor championship than an outdoor championship for sure.
Yeah, you'll always see every once in a while there'll be a couple like dogs that like miss out because it's just like, hey, the season's short. You don't get many track meets to put down a time, and if you mess up a couple times, like you ain't gonna make it. Like I know
Yeah,
Joe Famble, he missed it the year that he won like those two, the 1 and the 2, I think it was. So
it's crazy.
it's it's crazy, man. It's a doggy dog world. Next for me in my 4 spot, I've got Florida.
Okay.
So they've got McCoy in fourth in the 60. They're also first in the 4x4. They got a couple other runners that haven't gone yet, that we haven't seen hit the track right now, and so I think that they'll have a few others that we haven't seen. So that's one where they don't quite have the number of people in the championship qualifying point yet, but I know that they will, and they're always a competitor at this meet. And so I figure, hey, we haven't seen Justin Braun, we haven't seen Toby run really yet, so it's like I feel they're going to come out and drop something. So I think we'll probably see them coming out soon here.
It's always a safe bet going with the Gators. I'm not mad at that, especially. I mean, like you said, teams were canceling their meet because of the weather, so it's kind of just skewing the way that things would look right now at this point in the season. So I'm not mad at Texas or at Florida. My bad, being in the 4th spot. But at my 4th spot, I had Iowa State. They got a few different NCAA qualifiers around the field. Some distance guys, high jump guy, 3K, 5K. So like I said, when I was making this list, I wanted to find teams with a lot of people performing at a high level right now at this point in the season, and Iowa State is right there in the mix.
That's not like a school that you think of very much for like having some crazy talent. Like that's new to the fold right
Yeah,
now. I guess like just Big Ten is not, they haven't put together a team that and is Iowa State in the Big Ten? I'm
yeah.
pretty sure they
Or
are, right?
Big 12 team.
Big 12? Okay. Yeah, you haven't seen many of these teams like coming out and challenging for these championships. So it could be nice to finally get some different different schools in the mix, man. Then for me, for my third place team, I'm going to go with Texas. So Texas, they've got their first and fifth in the long jump right now, so they're doing pretty well in the field events. They also got their 10th in the vault, and then they're leading the country in that 400. And so they're someone else where they've got a decent amount, and one thing that I do like a lot is it's not just in the running events, it's also on in the field events, because I think that like diversifying what you have is great. Like you don't want to have just one person, like have everything be on one individual, because then if they just have a bad meet, then you're screwed. Like if you're it's like, hey, I'm right. It's like it's ride or die on whoever it is. It's like, all right, well then sometimes you're gonna ride, sometimes you're gonna die. Like it's gonna be tough. And so I like that they've got a decent kind of spread there. And so and pretty high up in those rankings. So leading the country in the four. So I feel good about them with them in my three.
Yeah, that's a good pick for sure. And in my three spot, I got Texas A&M. So I think Texas A&M is a team that's always going to be deep, always going to have a lot of bodies, a lot of guys, a lot of scholarship money. And they got like 3 or 4 guys already qualified in the 400 meter. That's not Ahmad Robinson, and he's probably the biggest name on their team. I think this could be his year to kind of step up and prove some people wrong here. And they also are going to have a good 4x4 and a really good DMR. So I think those weird plug and play type of events, I think they'll really be one of the more elite teams at because of their depth.
Yeah, they're going to be a team, one of these teams to be. Bless you.
Thanks, brother.
For me, I've got Texas A&M at my two. They've got, like you said, their depth in the 400 right now is pretty incredible. Like they've got their number 2, 4, and 5 in the 400 in the country. Yeah, and like you said, Ahmad Robinson hasn't even ran yet. So it's like, so you've got that crazy depth before your top guy has even ran in the 400, and he's second in the 200 right now. So it's like
Right.
he's putting up times, and he had that crazy, what was it, a 500 or 600 earlier this year.
Yeah.
So he's going to be looking good there. And then on top of that, they also are number 2 in the pole vault. So they are also adding some extra strength in one of those field events that that can be a sneaky 8 points. Like that can be make or break between what it is of are you going to be taking home this championship, or are you leaving in second or third place? So I think they've got some decent talent, especially with that 400 quartet that they got.
Definitely, bro. Like, and the thing with the indoor championship, I feel like you could probably win with like 45 points, like 45 to 60 points. Anywhere in that range, you can win a championship. So if you could pick up 10 in a DMR, 8 in a 4x4, they can get like up to 12, like 12, 14 points in a 400. Grab that 8 in the pole vault, you're a national champ. So they're definitely a contender. At
Yeah,
my
there's
two,
oh,
oh, go
sorry. Yeah,
ahead.
I was going to just say, yeah, like I completely agree. Like with these, there's a lot of these teams, and a lot of them have like are scoring in the same spaces. Like, hey, my top guys are running similar events as other schools' top guys. So it's like, you're not going to need to blow out another team to completely win. Like it's going to be really close. So yeah, what were you saying for your second spot? Sorry.
Yeah, my second spot, I had the University of Washington. They're all on top of the leaderboard for this mid distance to distance kind of field. The 800 got 145 guy that kind of popped out at me a little bit. I'm not sure how much faster this 800-meter field is going to get, but as of right now, they got 2 guys at the top of the leaderboard, another guy in there in that top 12, 2 guys for the mile. So they look like a really elite team that could. I mean, if you have powerhouses like that in the mid distance, you can also can contend. So I threw them at my second spot.
Yeah, they're going to be competitive in it. I like one of my, I guess, honorable mentions from the distance crowd that I didn't put in was North Carolina. I know that they've got 2 guys in the what with Parker Wolf over there in the distance events. So I think they're going to be someone that could put it together. And you're not going to need, like you said, you don't need a whole lot of points. Like if you go 1-2 in like 2 events, you got a chance,
Yeah,
bro.
you got a
Like
chance.
if you can go 1-2 in like the 3K, or in in the, I guess what is the mile and the 3K. I know it's the events are slightly different than they are in outdoor, but like if they can do that, like yo, you're in contention for winning this thing, or you're definitely up there. So there's a couple people that I'm sure will sneak out of here that wasn't thinking of. Then for my one spot, it sounds like both of us have the exact same one spot right now. They've been on an absolute tear, but it's the University of Southern California, USC. They've just been showing up and showing out recently. Top 2 in the 60, 4 and 6 in the 200, and number 1 in the 60-meter hurdles. One thing I'm also curious on, because their guy that's number 1 in the 60 right now, JC Stevenson, he won the long jump national championship last year. And so is he going to double back and attempt to do the long jump in the NCAA championship this year as well, and then try to go for the 60 long jump double? Because that would add even more points to what they've got. And then I'm not sure if Makai Williams is running indoors. I mean, we still haven't seen him touch the track yet, but adding him into the fray of now you have potential to have the top 3 60 meters in the entire country on your team, like that is going to make it nearly impossible to come back from. So yeah, I think USC is just head over heels above everyone else, and we haven't seen them put together a really talented indoor team yet. We've seen them do really well outdoors, so it's nice to see them try to put together this indoor squad right now.
Yeah, USD is on fire right now, bro. You said it. You touched on it. They got an opportunity to do something special, especially with JC. Like you mentioned, being a long jump 60 guy, he might be a potential Bowerman candidate if he can pull this off, and then obviously lead that into outdoors in the 100 in the long jump. So right now, man, USC is obviously the hottest team. They got the top dogs in like the flashier sprint events. And they haven't really put together their relay team yet, so I'll be excited to see what that 4x4 would look like as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and like I don't know if Johnny Blockberg is just doing indoors, or is he doing indoors and outdoors? Like I've been hearing some people saying he's just. I'm sure I could probably message him and figure it out, but like if he's only doing indoors, then you're going to probably get just like a crazy season from him, because I'm sure he's got a lot of like if you're coming back. I'm curious on your thoughts of it. If you're coming back for only an indoor season, that means that you must really be like you're on the cusp of trying to get what that next like contract might look like. Like what do you like you think if it's like you don't even have an outdoor season, you're not going for outdoors, like is that what am I looking into that the right way?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably trying to maximize what you have left in college. Try to make yourself look better to a brand, or check off the list. I was NCAA champion, and this is my last chance. So I'm sure he's going to try to optimize these next 6 weeks that we have in the indoor season.
Yeah. So he'll be a dangerous team, but man, that 4x1 would be great. Max to JC, to Johnny, to Makai, like that. That 4x1 would be nuts. Who would win, them or your 2021 LSU team, man?
My LSU team. Them boys not rocking with us, but they're definitely talented though.
Okay. Yeah, and that would be that would be a talented squad. That'd be a talented squad. So let's flip it on over to the women's side for the women's top 5 rankings. You want to kick us off here, Noah?
I'll start at my 5 spot. My 5 spot, I got the University of Georgia. Now, for ranking these women, I want to preface this. For ranking these women teams, it was a little bit harder for me because the performances have been a little sporadic. It seems like not too many teams have competed, or at least competed multiple times. So a lot of this here for me is projection and what I think is gonna happen in the teams based on the returning athletes like an Aaliyah Butler or somebody who hasn't put too many times on the track yet. So with that being said, I do have Georgia at my number 5 school for the women.
Georgia. Yeah. I think it's like you said, similar thing. It's hard. This one's a lot more difficult. It's interesting. It goes back and forth between men and women when there'll be times where these are the top two teams. I think what was it, 2022 indoors when it was Florida, Texas, and everyone else, where it was just like, that year Florida had, crazy team with Diggs and I think Anna Hall and all that. So that one was nut. And it was like, all right, these are the top two teams, and then it really doesn't matter who else you're going to be putting there. It's like it's really mixed up. And for the men, like I feel right now, like we've got at least a pretty clear of like who's distinguished themselves. Of like there's like them top 7 teams right now. They're all over the place for whom there is. So it'll start to come to fruition soon, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So for me, for my 5th spot, so I picked this, but the more that I'm looking at it, I probably have them too low, but I wrote them down here, so I'm going to have them there right now. I've got South Carolina at my 5 spot. Jamisa Ford, who's leading the NCAA right now. Zaya Atkins, who's 6th in the 400. So they've got some really good talent on in their mid distance side of things. I think they put together a 4x4 team. 6th in the 4x4. So they're going to be a good team to beat. They also got a few in the field events as well. It looks like they got a top 5 in the high jump and a few other field events. So they'll be nice to see if they can put together a team. We know that they had with Rachel Glenn before she transferred to Arkansas. She was obviously immensely talented in the field events. So obviously their coaching staff does a good job there. So I got South Carolina for me at my 5.
I like it, bro. I like it a lot. Shout out Coach Tim Hall over there, making some things shake. In my 4th spot, I'm gonna put the national powerhouse here, Arkansas. I think they're kind of the star of the show, or the main athlete in that program right now is Kaylin Brown. And she's probably my favorite to win the 400-meter indoors here this season, but I don't think she's opened up yet in the 400. Just with Arkansas, we know that they're going to be deep. They're going to have a lot of 400-meter girls. They're going to have a lot of 200-meter girls. They're going to have probably one of the, if not the strongest relay come time to win a championship. So Arkansas is always going to be on my list. I got them at 4.
Yeah, Arkansas's got depth. And so for me, that's my one school that I omitted from this top 5 right now, just because they haven't competed really at all this year. And so, yes, they're definitely going to probably be on there. But I'm like, hey, based on what I'm seeing right now, I haven't seen y'all. And so, yes, like they're going to be up there. But if people are wondering, oh, why did Colin omit Arkansas? It's because they haven't ran yet right now. For me, my 4 spot, I've got Texas Tech. I think they're going to be able to put together a nice team. Once again, I like when people have some good field events in here. They've got 2 top 10 women in the high jump, and so just being able to diversify from where you're normally at. I think they also have a few 400-meter runners or 200-meter runners. So they've got a couple good sprinters that they're going to be putting together for Texas Tech. Their women team, they really had a good year back in 2021. I think they were like top 5 or top 3 in those years. They had a I think it was the long or triple jumper, who broke the triple jump national record that year. So they got some good talent. So nice to see them potentially being back on the podium here.
Yeah, man.
Who you got for your 3?
For my 3 spot, I have the University of Illinois. So University of Illinois has almost top of the leaderboard in all of the field events. They have people qualified for the national championships in all the field events. And then looking at their coaching staff, they have a very elite coaching staff. The former Georgia head coach is there. I'm blanking on his name, and Petros, that's his name. Mm-hmm. But and they also have Dennis Mitchell, who was my coach at the University of Akron. So if you know the lineage of the University of Akron and the pole vault history there at that university, he's kind of taking that culture over to the University of Illinois. So I've been watching them over the past couple years, and I think the women are getting it together a little bit. They got some foreigners there, so Illinois, keep your eye on Illinois for sure.
Ooh, that's a good pick. I totally overlooked them. That's yes, I didn't know that their pole vault coach went over. Yeah, Arkansas, not Arkansas, Akron, just like critically acclaimed program for pole vaulting, and so to
Yeah,
have like one of the guys from a pole vault, like the pole vaulting coach perspective, like that's gonna be, yeah, you can get some real good points and clean up there. So
yeah.
that's massive. I didn't see that. Good poll. Good poll. Uh for me, I got USC at my third spot. They've just got a really top heavy sprinting quartet of times right now. 2 and 3 in the 60. What is it? It is seventh in the 200 meters, right? Yep, with Madison White. So they've got some really strong team on the sprinting side for the women. So we haven't seen that team win the men and the women's title in the same year since, I guess, Florida did it back in 2022. So be interesting to see if they're able to run it back with this team, with this crew, because it's hard to put together a strong men team and a women's team that's like they both have that opportunity to win a national championship, and then it's really freaking hard to win that national championship. So I think they've got some really talented sprinters at the top end, and obviously they're all pushing each other if you've got that on the men's side and the women's side. So for me, I got USC at my third spot.
I like it, bro. I like it, bro. I also have USC on my list, but at my two spot, I have
Mm.
Texas A&M, the Aggies. Like you said, with a topic that you said, when one side of the field, like the men's team, is really hot and bringing a lot of good energy and performing well, I think that'll raise the performance of the women's team. And I think A&M is another school of that lineage, and they have talent on their team. They have a deep team as well. Jermaisha Arnold in the 400 meters. They got Jaya Covington in the 60-meter hurdles. So they got scorers or people that have already qualified. They'll have a 4x4 team. They always have jumpers that'll score, pick up some 3 points here, 2 points there, kind of nickel and dime you in that way. And then obviously Pat Henry is one of the most, credited coaches in the NCAA. So he's always going to have a punch in the fight there, if you will. So I got
Mhm.
Texas A&M,
You said them, Texas A&M. You had them at your two. You said
my
that's your two.
two spot. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. For my two, I've got BYU. So once again, similar thing with the distance quartet. Like for what you see Washington doing on the men's side right now, BYU is really doing that on the women's side. I think they won the cross country national championship, if I remember correctly. So they've got them dogs like that. If you haven't seen BYU's coach, I don't know if it's just their distance coach or it's their head coach, but she is a character. They've been a couple YouTube videos of her just going like nuts in the stands coaching on her team. Like I was at I'll tell a quick story. When I was at the USA Championships back in 2022 with my dad and my nephew, we were sitting right next to her, and she was like, she must have lost her voice, like yelling at her athletes, like go, move, push. We're like, bro, they can't hear you. Like they're running, like they're locked in, like your runners have no idea what you're saying. Like they'd be across the track, and she's like yelling, like 45 seconds. I'm like, they can't hear you. Like what are we doing? But I love that. I love that passion. They're getting the best out of them. They've got their first, fifth, and ninth in the 800 meters. So like a lot of runners in there. It's early in the season, obviously, but still putting up those amount of competitors is going to be good. Then they're fifth in the 3K, and they also got a fifth person in the pole vault as well. So they've got some people where, hey, a lot of these other dogs that are competing for this national championship are in the sprints, and a lot of people, if you just fall back a little bit, if these people that dominate one or two events, like really dominate them, then it could really open up something. So I got BYU at my two.
All right, Colin, good pull, man. Yeah, BYU. I was unfamiliar with y'all game. Thanks, Colin.
I'm trying to pull like you did on that Illinois poll, man. I'm trying to get deep in my bag. We'll see.
little something, man. But for my one spot, I got USC. They're super hot right now in the short sprints. And I know they'll have a relay, they'll have 400 stuff going on. So right now, with the way that the men's teams look in the one spot, I put the women over there in the one spot as well. And they're riding high right now.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, the double national championship. I mean, it ain't easy, but when you got a couple people pushing each other, man, like that's gonna be big time. That's gonna be big time. Uh, then for me at my one, I've got Texas A&M. So for pretty much all the similar reasons that you had mentioned, they've got a lot of people that are currently up there right now. So like, fifth in the 400, first in 60 hurdles, fourth in the 4x4, and they also got a sixth place, performance in the triple jump right now. So, they've got a lot of people currently in those fields, and I think that they'll be able to put something together. So right now, like on the men's side and the women's side, I think that we both have Texas A&M and USC at 1-2. I just realized that right now in either position. So I don't think we've seen that before of first a team that on both the men and the women's side they go 1-2, like they're that competitive for both on both campuses. Like that would be pretty crazy for a top two to end up that way.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, hey, credit to the coaching staffs there, credit to their recruiting, credit to those actual athletes putting it out there on the track. But I mean, they look good. They look good right now.
Looking good early on, so let's see how it continues. But so should be good NCAA rankings. Let us know in the comments. Where do you have your rankings? Who's at the top? Who's at the bottom? Where do we mess up? Because I'm sure a lot of people just don't believe us. So let us know. Let us know. All right. So let's get into some other events that we saw on the track. Your event group, your training group, man. You had a lot of things going off with your training group. How were let's start with one of my favorite just comeback stories right now of what we've got with Jaylen Slade. So Jaylen, obviously you've been training with him for the last few years. He's been injured for the last 3 seasons, 965 days off of the track. He finally made his return to the 60 at the Rad Invitational. Could you give us some insight on like what it was like, what it's been like for him coming back? Obviously, friend of the show. What's the emotion? What's it like to see finally getting back on that track for him, man? That's got to be a huge moment for him.
I think it's just a very joyful moment for him more than anything else, aside from the pressure or the expectations that we as fans or spectators might have on somebody like Jaylen. But being able to watch and see him prepare for this and get ready for this and get back to this has been special. And I think he's going to have a special season. Performance wise, time wise, I think it's hard to kind of grade or judge how he might have done or performed. It's at this point of the season for a professional athlete. So yeah, I think the main word that I could say would be joy. There's a lot of joy involved with that.
Yeah, I'm thinking I didn't care too much about like what the times were, and sure, like it wasn't like crazy fast time. Like it's all good. It's
Yeah,
you haven't been on the track for 3 years.
yeah,
I'm sure there's so many things going in your head like I don't want to get cuz I don't know what it was. I'm sure, maybe he'll want to share his story at some point of, what was going on, whether it was injuries or whatever it may be. I'm sure he'll eventually, see what he wants to do, but I could imagine that, first time back on a track, you might be having these hesitations of not wanting to, go be back in that spot that you were in for these last 3 years of like, I don't want to screw this up. Like, I know I've been training, I know that I'm ready for it, but like, I don't want to regress. And so I can imagine there might be some hesitation, and then probably a lot of joy when you're finally finished that race. So good on him. Glad that he's able to get on the track. He's one of those high school phenoms that was dropping crazy times. Whenever you break a Noah Lyles national record, like you obviously have some elite talent. So we'll see how it turns out for the rest of the season. But I'm sure that y'all were excited to see the boy get back on the track. So it's good. It was good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good stuff. Good stuff from him. Good stuff from mostly everybody. Did you get this? Have you seen a video of that race?
I saw the camera work of it was like not great. That's something else I got to say. All right. We got to stop doing these camera switches for 60-meter races, bro. Stop. The race is 6 seconds long. Show the same camera angle. They like they started from the side and then like they flipped to like a camera from the front and then they flipped again to a one on another angle, like from like a 3/4 angle. It's like this is impossible to follow. Like who's winning? It's like just show the race from the side, from the front, from the top, from the back, whatever it is, the same one. I can't tell who's winning or what's going on. So yes, I saw the race a little bit, but like it was hard to break down anything. So it was like impossible because these damn angles. So I don't know if that's what you were getting into, but yes, I did. I did see it.
That's not what I was getting into, but that is a fantastic point because that flow track video was, I believe it was flow track. It was
Yeah.
very subpar because you can't have 3 cuts in a 60-meter event. Like it's so short already. So now we're missing a third of the race. But yeah, no, man, everybody in that race looked good. It was basically, about 6 or 7 athletes from the Pure Athletics training group, and they all performed well. I mean, and to top it off, they obviously had Noah Lyles there going 6:62. Good opener for him. I don't think that's his best opener, but looking at it from a video, it seemed like he was doing things that he's been working on in training. So, hey, there's nothing to bat an eye at for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like this one was really a tune-up race. I mean, I think back to what was it? Last outdoor when he lost that 100 to what was it?
Oblique.
No, I was thinking the high schooler. Who's the high
Oh,
schooler that beat
Christian
him?
Miller.
No, not I don't think he lost. Was it Christian Miller? No, it was the guy that was I think he was supposed to go to Texas A&M, but then got popped for something. Do you know what I'm talking about? Who was the
And he
guy?
beat Noah head to head in 100.
Was there not a dude in high school that beat Noah in the 100 meters and then like got popped for because he was the Gatorade Athlete of the Year in
It
high
wasn't
school?
Christian Miller.
Because this he got cut. He did he had like the Gatorade shoes and he broke like the 100-meter national record.
Yeah, I remember the story. I can't remember the kid though.
What was his name? Why am I drawing a huge blank right now? Was it like Ishan? I know it wasn't Christian Miller, but I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, he beat Noah like in the 100 and everyone thought, "Oh, like, super like how are you going to lose to a high schooler when the high school kid is peaking for races that are much more someone in the chat will or in the comments will let us know what his name is. Why I'm blanking right now. But like, yeah, so I think it's one of those where you just got started with the season. I think his first real 60 meters, I think we're gonna see is this next weekend at Boston.
Yeah.
This really seemed like, hey, it's a tune-up. The tune-up before we get ready for this big meet in New Balance because they got some dogs that are going to be competing in this one right now. Like him, Marcel Jacobs is in there. So you got the two previous Olympic champions that are going to be in this 60-meter, and I'm sure there's a couple other people that haven't been officially announced that are going to be coming out too as well. So yeah, I think it's a good one to get started. It's not something that I care too drastically on the time. I think it's get ready for this next meet.
Yeah. Hey, not to look too forward, but I would love to see Fred hop in that Boston 60. Like a little like pop out after whatever happened in Miami a few weeks ago. Hey, that would be fire, Fred. If you watching the show, Fred, get in that Boston 60, bro.
Bro, that would be a race. Fred, Noah, Jacobs. There's a few others that are going to be in there. I don't want to announce any. I know some people there's some dogs that'll be in that race. So don't think that it's over. So no, that's going to be a good one. So yeah, Fred, hop in that 60, man. That's what we got to see. That's what we got to see. Then sticking with the 60, another guy who also came in second place in the Olympics in the 100 meters. Kishane Thompson this year, who ran a 60. So he ran outdoors, that outdoor 6.4 something into a headwind. He then runs his first 60 indoors, and he runs a 6.53. But the story is, right after that race, he looked like he was in a little bit of discomfort right after it. Like he had something in his, whether it was hamstring or a calf or whatever it is that he kind of pulled up on. But I don't know if we're going to see him through the remainder of indoors, because usually it's like if you have any little tweak, you want to shut that stuff down. Like you don't want to, risk getting hurt in an indoor meet. But what were you thinking of, with his 60 that we saw from him?
Yeah, be smart. Be smart. We know you're fast. The world knows you're fast. Everybody knows you're fast. I never met you before, and I know you're fast. We know that. Be smart right now. If you feel something in your body before a race in January, February, March, April, May,
What?
chill. Chill for real, because we know you're fast. You don't really have anything to prove right now. All you have to prove is, can you win a world championship in September?
It's a long season.
Yeah, it's a long season, bro. Like, yeah, we okay. That 60 that you ran outdoors was super impressive. Like, very impressive. We had the world shook. We talked about it. And 653 this early in the season, that's great. But if it's causing you to get tweaks and have to tie up, pull up, nah, we ain't gonna go there, bro. Just be smart.
And especially when you've had a history of injuries in the past too.
Right.
Like you've gone through and you've had difficulties and meets that you've had to pull out of, or you hadn't really blossomed in previous seasons because of injuries in the past. So like, don't mess around with that sort of thing. Like, it's early on. Like, yes, I would love to see him at the indoor world championship competing against, Noah Lyles, Christian Coleman, and Trayvon Bromell. Like, I would love to see that at the world championship. I think it would be an excellent race, but I'd rather see that quartet competing against each other at Tokyo in the world championship outdoors much more. So like, don't mess around. Maybe it wasn't anything. Maybe he just got a cramp, hopefully, and then he'll be good. But don't be messing with them leg injuries, man, especially when you're a runner. We don't need to see it.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, so good race. Good racing from him. I guess one other thing that we saw. Did you see the Australian kid that ran a 6:44 outdoors as well?
Oh yeah. I did see. Yeah, I did see this. Yeah, I saw the photo. I didn't see the video though.
Yeah. How do you feel? How do we feel about these outdoor 60s? Like, we're seeing a few more of them right now. I know Jamaica usually always is doing some. Australia, because their seasons are inverted, so it's the summertime right now. They're doing something like that, and it's also interesting because they're like they're getting ready to peak for their national championships and everything. So it's like you'll see these crazy times coming out of Australia, but it's like, yeah, because their national championship is like 3 weeks from now, so it's a little bit different. But you taking these like with a grain of salt? Like, is this something where like, oh, it's a 6:44, like we got to look out for this kid, or it's just not look too deep?
It's impressive, I guess. It doesn't say too much. I want to see you do it at an indoor world championship, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. I guess I wouldn't say I'm mad at it by any stretch of the imagination, though.
Mm-hmm. One thing that was funny, so World Athletics posted that, and then Aaron Brown said 10:17 incoming, and then he literally ran a 10:17 in the 100 the next day. So he called it. He called it literally on the nose. It was so crazy. He was like 10:17 PR incoming or whatever, and then he literally runs that the next day. So
Man, that's crazy.
yeah, it's nuts getting called out like that. I'd have to run a little faster or a little slower, just not to like. I just don't run 10:17. You just can't do that, but he did it. So
hey, is Aaron Brown the #1 supporter of Track World News?
Aaron Brown is definitely one of the #1 watchers, and I would definitely call supporters. He's in the comments every single podcast telling me that I'm wrong. So he's got to be one of the top supporters. I'd be like, Colin doesn't know anything. He's an idiot. Why does this guy talk track and field? So he definitely, I'll call it a supporter. he watches like every single episode. I know you're watching right now, Aaron. So
like he'll comment on specific things that we're speaking on 38 minutes into the podcast.
You froze up. You said he, and then I didn't hear you after that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can. You good?
He can speak on specific moments from our podcast, like 48 minutes into a recording. So I know that he's locked in, but it's appreciated though, like more than anything, for real.
Oh yeah. No, he did his like Instagram live debate about field events, like that shouldn't be in track. Like he's just a troll, man. Just troll. But shout out to the support for everybody that's watching the shows. And yeah, actually a big shout out to y'all. Like these episodes been doing well recently. Y'all are supporting, y'all are liking. Let us know if there's anything content type of stuff that you want to see us do more of, because apparently, like, obviously you guys are enjoying it. Each episode's doing well. So any other stuff that we missed from any performances or anything like that?
No, nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. I think that the Tyson track meet is coming up this weekend though, so I think we'll have a lot of high tier collegiate performances this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, that one's going to be going off. That'll be a good one. We're also we'll be seeing the New Balance Grand Prix, so we should be getting a lot of good pro performances coming out this upcoming weekend as well. And then the following weekend after that, Milrose Games. So we got some big track meets that are coming around the bend right now. So watch out for those. Should be a good one. But thank you to everyone for watching today's episode, Track World News Podcast. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hope that you enjoyed today. We'll see you next week, and peace.
Peace.